Uganda, welcome to The Real. My name is Julie F. Nantaba. And on Good Morning Uganda, what we're looking at this morning is the fact that we have good news in Uganda. Uganda was declared Ebola-free as announced by the Minister of Health, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, yesterday. So we decided why not get the gist of it from Dr. Daniel Chabayinze, who is the Director of Public Health at the Ministry of Health. Do ask that question. Share your opinion as well to 0709-602-592. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Nantaba. Good morning, Uganda.
That's your time. Right. Uganda declared Ebola-free yesterday. What does this mean for Uganda?
Following the declaration made yesterday by the Minister Chris Baryomunsi, having progression of the disease, the Minister was able, with the rest of his team, to declare that Uganda is actually Ebola-free following the scientific rigor. Declared the outbreak on 15th May, having had the first index case. However, the majority of the people who got sick in our country were imported cases who came from the nation of the Democratic Republic of Congo. So when we declare Ebola-free, meaning there is no transmission of Ebola in Uganda, and we've been able to wait and follow the 2 cycles, the 42 days after the last Ugandan was discharged from the community, from the hospital to the community. The outbreak had 2 facets. That's what we need to tell the people, is that whereas there were people who were coming in to seek care from Congo, Ugandans fell sick by taking care of these people. So that was the Ugandan outbreak, which was here. So what has happened once we discharged the last person, Uganda, on 16th June, those are 43 days ago now. So that was the basis on which we able to declare Uganda Ebola-free, having followed up all the contacts, having treated all the people who were infected. And that does not mean that there were no patients in the last 42 days, but the people who were in treatment, the last person from Congo, had come in differently through a cargo truck. So that one is not part of the Ugandan local transmission, because we know how he came in and was also discharged.
All right. Now, with that good news, it means that Ugandans receive this message differently. Why I'm using Ugandans is because it starts with us and then, of course, spreads to the rest of any other person who might not be Ugandan or is just passing through Uganda or visiting Uganda. How are Ugandans expected to treat this news? Do we maintain the SOPs? Do we leave the SOPs anyways and go back to life as normal? What are we expected to respond to us?
As of yesterday, Uganda goes back to normal. However, you know that we do caution based on what we are hearing. As of yesterday, after that declaration, we go back to normal. There are no more need for clearance. There's no more need for putting the rigorous restrictions on SOPs, except where we kept caution, where the minister kept caution was on the border point, because the imminent danger still remains from the DRC along the western border of Uganda. And those measures I can explain. But the rest of the country goes back to normal. The outbreak is over. Those who are going for sporting, those who are going for leisure, those who are going to travel into different places, who are cautious, those who are organized international meetings into the country, that caution is now lifted.
Right. Now, you counted 42 days. What exactly, why is it that it's 42 days as opposed to 21 days? Just paint a picture or the detail of the science behind counting 42 days to declare Uganda Ebola-free.
The number of the days that we take to declare an outbreak over is based and premised on the nature of the causing agent, either a virus or a bacteria or any other pathogen or a fungus. Now, For the virus of Ebola, we know that its incubation time, that is the time from which somebody can get sick to the latest time when they can ever show symptoms, is between 2 days and 21 days. You can start showing symptoms and signs between that time. And within that time, when you start showing symptoms of, that is the incubation time, is when you can be effective. So we use those cycles to determine that should there have been anybody sick, they should have shown up and been treated if there was anything unmasked yet. So we use that 21 days as the cautious time to measure. Now we double that to say, even if we missed the first cycle of anybody we didn't see, were there other people who were infected by the person we have not yet seen? That is the second layer of contact. So we use twice the cycle to ascertain ourselves, not that there is no disease, but to make sure that we have not missed anybody. Now, when you have been able to characterize, to document, and follow up all the sick people in your country or in your outbreak, then you are able to say after 2 cycles, we are able to say the outbreak is over. So the magic of 21 days is because of Ebola. Remember, for COVID, we were saying 14 days when we were putting people in quarantine. So that's the difference between the 2 diseases.
Right. One would wonder, what exactly did Uganda do right? Or what exactly is Uganda doing right that we're seeing this result as opposed to the rest of Africa who are dealing with Ebola?
So Ugandans have had to sacrifice a lot of pleasure and leisure to be able to respond as a community. Uganda has had many outbreaks, and every outbreak we do learn. Uganda is one of the countries with the top scientists and people who have experience in managing outbreaks. And we do have collective responsibility under the leadership of the president, who decides and commands how we respond. We have a national task force which is chaired by the vice president on behalf of the government. We do have the laboratories, first-class laboratories to detect all the outbreaks with expertise. Uganda also has the clinical people, clinicians, physicians, nurses, and laboratory people who are able to support us during this outbreak. So what did we do differently? Once we knew we had an outbreak, we announced and told everybody, colleagues, we have a danger, we have to respond as a whole of government. That comes with discomfort. But secondly, Uganda was able to let the patients act decisively and call everybody to act. You know, we locked down our hospitals where we had the first suspects. We stopped movements within certain areas across the border. We cancelled the Namugongo Martyrs Day on 3rd, which would have exposed us to a possibility of in-country spread. Uganda also acts differently because all the contacts that we knew were taken into quarantine or isolation, so that whoever has the signs and symptoms when there have been contacts, they're already with us. The beauty with Ebola, we know it's a contact disease, not spread by cough, but you must touch the body fluids. So the people who are falling sick were already with us in our quarantines or isolation centers, so they had no possibility of spreading. Then the Ugandans were able to give us information on wherever they saw a Congolese or a national who was feeling unwell. Those were all alert to say if we get a suspicious case, then we treat them, isolate them, and treat them differently. And all these combined have seen us respond and come to a conclusion that Uganda is one of the countries which is going to teach the rest of the world how to manage such outbreaks.
All right, Doctor, allow me get into a couple of, just maybe one comment. Good morning, Uganda. Abdul Muyimbwa here, who says, we should all congratulate His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for fighting Ebola and saving Uganda's 90 billion, which was to be embezzled by by some officials, ministry officials. Very interesting comment that comes from you, Abdul, but thank you so much for watching the show, and we do appreciate. Now, we want you to be part of the conversation, and in your opinion, which factor contributed most to Uganda's successful interruption of Ebola virus transmission? Do share what you think, what you've observed in the due course of Uganda fighting this since May 2026, May 16th. 0709602592, that is by WhatsApp. Send your contribution, but also onto Alex Sandola at UBC TV Uganda. And the hashtag is UBCGMU. Now, Doctor, let's look at Western media. As we all remember that at the start of this fight in May, Western media had a very interesting way of reporting that Uganda had Ebola. The numbers were uncertain, the numbers were quite wrong of statistics as it was the realistic experience here on ground. How best do you think we should expect Western media to report now that Uganda has been declared Ebola free? What amount of energy do you look forward to the Western media bringing for Uganda? And what is the Ministry of Health doing to engage other media outlets outside of Uganda and Africa to have Uganda's PR stabilized?
The beauty is that Uganda Ministry of Health does not speak for the rest of Uganda. We do have a full department, the media center, headed by very seasoned journalists and somebody who understands Western media. So we shall leave that to Alan Kasuja and the rest of the teams like UBC to keep giving the positive news about our country. But I'm not surprised because people's perspective about how they report about Africa, whether for good or otherwise, is always on the flip side.
Right.
However, I have just seen the breaking news published by Al Jazeera saying Uganda government declares end of Ebola, which is positive.
Yes.
They call it breaking news. They put it out there. We've seen Reuters putting out the same messages. We see that CNN and BBC have decided to come to Congo where they're going to be best, where Uganda is doing the treatment center. You know, Uganda has set up a treatment center in the DRC to help the Congolese for not coming this way. We give them the service that they were looking for across the border. So the Western media is going to be positive, but they're going to be puzzled. You remember how they said Africans would dropped dead with COVID and we are still alive.
Right.
So they're going to be surprised. They're going to try to explain why and how and explain away our success. But there will be some who will say the front thing that, yes, Uganda knows what it's doing.
Right.
The less interference we have from outside, the better we respond.
I hear you. The less interference, the better we respond. Now, you did talk about lessons that were learnt, quite a number of them, that they are there. Could you share what those lessons have been in the past couple of days since May up until now?
The best thing to do when we get an outbreak is that to have the whole of government respond as one. Remember, some people were in the media very, very disappointed that we had to announce the first outbreak when you have the first patient, because people are not aware of the science of the outbreak of such diseases. So we've gone a long way to teach them through communication and advocacy, telling them this is the right thing to do. And I think time has exonerated us. God has been on our side and we've been able to overcome the challenge. The next lesson we learned is that the Ebola virus, you have to prepare for rains during the dry seasons. We had already learned how to, to sequence and test. I think our neighbors were missing the Bundibujo strain and we're saying we're having a strange disease. For us, the first time we sequenced this disease, we were able to say our labs in Butarika, CPHL, were able to tell us this is Bundibujo strain. And so when you test using other platforms, you are likely to miss the disease. And then you send somebody back to the community and they infect. Thirdly, some hospitals were so candid and honest and transparent, were able to tell us which Congolese had come into their hospitals. And those were the first indicators of who we tracked down, why had they come, what were their referral notes like. Those we learned. Now, on a scientific method, we discovered that Bundibujo Ebola patients do not necessarily come out bleeding. So you remember when we talked about people will be bleeding from the nose, from the eyes, from the ears. That picture does not come when people come for treatment early. That's when you come early, nobody died in our treatment center. Of the 20 people who fell sick, only of the 20 people who got Ebola in Uganda, only 2 died. One was the first case before we knew, and the other one was one who came halfway the outbreak and was dropped very late at one of the petrol stations in Kampala when he was being invited by his colleagues. So we are saying that the lesson learned, early treatment care, information, people in the community telling us, we got so many alerts, so we are able to comb out all the what would have been rumors. Those rumors are important, meaning the information has penetrated the community. Those are lessons learned. And then the burial practices. You know, we don't wash bodies here. We don't allow the bodies to be released out of the hospital without taking a sample to confirm what has been the cause of death. All those are lessons and good lessons to take forward.
Right. The Bondibujo strain was rather new. You know, it was fresh to many medical experts. But indeed, we are here declaring the good news that Uganda is Ebola-free. What lessons have been taken out in how to handle, you know, anything that is very novel? That just as COVID was, even this particular virus has been quite unique. And yet the good news is what we stand on. What lessons do you take as the Ministry of Health moving forward in handling cases such as this?
The good news or the lesson is the government must put money aside as government of Uganda for day zero outbreak response. Day zero means when I hear something, there's an outbreak, I need to mobilize my epidemiologists and scientists and people to isolate the fire where it has started. But you cannot depend on money which is not at hand. So we should have an impress, we should have a fund, we should have resources put aside as a government so that we don't have to imagine or depend on anybody or to prove ourselves to anybody that we are responding to ABC before we spend, because you have to spend on day zero.
Right, right. You are watching UBC TV and we are having this conversation with Dr. Daniel Chabayinze, who is the Director of Public Health at the Ministry of Health. Uganda was declared Ebola-free, and it's the conversation that we are having this morning. In your perspective, what do you think helped Uganda overcome and get to this side of being declared Ebola-free? Share your opinion to 0709 602592 onto our X handle as well at UBCTV Uganda, and the hashtag is UBCGMU. Good morning, UBC Netherlands B. Leo Brazen here. We must thank President Museveni and the health team, as well as the minister, prime minister and vice president. These people have worked so much to improve on the health issues in Uganda. Thank you for the show, Julie. Thank you for what the government did to curb away Ebola. Congratulations, but one used anyhowly. This is Kisa Francis from Muyenga. Thank you so much for watching and sharing your views and communicate to UBC TV. We are wondering, in your view, away from Ministry of Health, away from the efforts that we've seen the whole team put together, as an individual, what have you observed and noted that this indeed is one of the reasons why Uganda has been declared Ebola-free? Now, Doctor, let's look at the team that has been at the center of this fight. Has the team been, we want to just get a picture of what it's been like, you being amongst part of the team. Has there been a degree of exhaustion? Has there been a degree of determination? Was there a point of giving up? Just paint a picture to us who are just outside and receiving information, secondary information from you, but primarily share your experience.
Thank you very much. We had multiple teams which are organized in terms of what we call pillars. We have 14 different pillars which respond to outbreaks. We do have a team which was dealing with surveillance, those who come to your community, ask you questions, who came here, those who are doing contact tracing, they tell you where have you gone, what does your phone number go with, which patient came into your laboratory. We have teams which have been doing IPC, which is infection prevention control, going around hospitals, telling them how to prepare. for any potential unknown case coming in, how to segregate their waste. We have teams which do case management. That's the biggest team, which usually set donning and putting on the white scare things all wrapped up in the hospitals. The nurses, we do have teams which feed these people in treatment center in Mulago, the isolation center. We have teams which have been managing people in quarantines. We do take all the contacts. We had 836 contacts who had been put in away for 21 days from the time when they had contact with any confirmed case. So all those are multiple layers. We had teams in hotels where we kept these people and feeding them and checking on their temperatures. We had teams which were in ambulances, following up people alerts which are called, even if they turned out not to be Ebola, but have to be evacuated cautiously. We also had team of leadership, which was headed by the president himself and the vice president, meeting and telling us how to give strategic information. We had teams in intelligence and army tracking people coming into our countries, knowing where and who they called, people who are switching off phones when we want to talk with them, how do we locate them. We had teams which were looking for and being ready should there be any mortality, how to do dignified burials, safe and dignified burials. As you remember in COVID, when we did not allow anybody to touch a body, all those are cautious ways and different teams. We also had teams which are dealing with logistics and supplies. How do the PPEs come? How are the hospitals supplied? We also have a team we call essential medical services, ensuring that there's no disruption. You know, when you disrupt one hospital, you have to make sure that the staff are rotating. Our medical teams also had chance to rotate.
Right.
The team works day, night, evening. The labs have to be open 24 hours. Whichever sample has to come in and results returned in 4 hours.
All right. We do appreciate you, the whole team. Numbers and numbers of heads definitely in there that have given their lives to definitely do the work, and we do appreciate you as Uganda. Now, Doctor, DR Congo is definitely still battling. How is Uganda protecting Uganda from what is happening at the neighbors?
We have had our president meet with the president of DRC Congo. President Museveni has met the president of Congo and has also invited the Minister of Health from Congo to State House a number of times, over 3 times. We've been having delegations from cross-border. We also have a cross-border platform. Is Uganda to join the response in Congo.
All right.
So as make announced, we are going to set up 4 treatment centers and 4 laboratories within Congo to help them contain the outbreak at source. So we already have 2 teams, one set in Aru, which is next to Arua West Nile, a major hub of where the infection is capping in Ituri. We also have a team now in Kisenyi, in the Choma area, where we are also set up a 80-bed treatment center and a mobile laboratory on trucks. With our generators, fire, you just find a jungle clear and set up a treatment center. So that's where we know that the people who need to respond and to be able to keep our borders safe, but also to help contain this outbreak. We will be more satisfied and quickly if the outbreak in Congo ends as well.
That is very true, totally true indeed. Doctor, allow me get into a few comments as we also begin to wrap this conversation. I'm Kimaleni Michael from Bududa district. The only thing that helped was following SOPs. Otherwise, thanks to the health department for the good work done, particularly our health minister, Chris Bariomusi, for emphasizing that people must follow instructions. Greetings to all fellow teachers in Chitagata Secondary School. Thank you, Kimaleni. We are talking about the good news of Uganda being declared Ebola-free. And in your opinion, which factor do you think contributed most to Uganda's successful interruption of the Ebola virus transmission? Do share your opinion. Good morning. Ugandans are loyal to orders and learn easily and fear a disaster. Also, our president is always principled. He could make us go into a lockdown as it happened during COVID-19. This made people implement the SOP. The Ministry of Health also did a great job to sensitize the public. Good scientists, good labs, good health systems. Sako Rashid Busana in Kayunga district. Thank you so much, Rashid, for being on the show. Good morning, Uganda. This is Odaro Vincent from Tororo. Ebola is one of the deadly diseases in the world. Now that Uganda has been declared free from it, my special thanks goes to the Ministry of Health and the general public for accepting to comply with the SOPs put by the Ministry of Health. Bravo to the Ministry of Health. Good morning, Uganda. Good morning, UBC. Could the doctor clarify whether there was a rush or panic to declare the Ebola outbreak without thinking through this? This is Dwight. Doctor, could you speak into that view by Dwight?
Why do you think we rushed? No, we did not rush. When you are counting 42 days of waking up every day and meeting and planning to how to end the disease, there's nothing like rush. We have been at a response since May 15th. This is 29th of July.
All right.
There's nothing like a rush.
All right.
And then secondly, we follow the science. Can you imagine if we can handle a deadly pathogen for all those days and no health worker in Uganda treating the patients in the isolation and treatment center was ever infected? Nobody in the lab was ever infected. Try and read about other outbreaks. Then you'll know that we are using science to respond to this outbreak. So we can't be rushed.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Daniel Chabayinze. What are your parting shots?
We want to congratulate the Ugandans for their patience. We want to thank God for coming to our rescue.
Very true indeed. Thank you so much, Doctor, for your time this morning and for painting the picture as is. At least it gives us more hope and more good news for Uganda. We do appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Now, allow me end this particular one with a comment that is coming in from Ratib from BDBD, who says, good morning, it's Miss Adam Ratib from BD. I think the citizens being observant to directives of the Ministry of Health greatly contributed to the victory. Thank you so much for being part of the show. Do appreciate you. Up next is GMU Tourism Express. We do have business and the agenda as well, so stay tuned because the day is still young. Good morning.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Maskari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda. Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
My name is Susan Nakauchi. I'm the State Minister for Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities. I'm here with this great team from Ministry of Tourism, from CTC, that's the Conservation Through Commercialization, from Uganda Wildlife Authority, and the Fourth Estate. We are at a place called CTC. CTC is in the central part of Uganda. It's in Butambala district. Actually, it's at the border of Butambala and Mpigi. It's so close to Kampala. It's 1 hour's drive from Kampala. And if there's no traffic jam, it's half an hour from Kampala. Checking on the friendly wild animals. We've been feeding the giraffes, lions, zebras, iguanas, lemurs, tigers, antelopes, snakes, and so much more. The list is endless. But this is proof that really Churchill was right. Uganda is indeed the pearl of Africa. Where do you find this experience? This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for you to come and enjoy and see the gifts of nature that God gave to this great country. I want to thank Thomas, the vision bearer of CTC. Really, he thought outside the box. I mean, it shows me that Uganda is a land of opportunities. Indeed, Uganda is better than any other country in the world. You will not have lived until you visit Uganda. You will not have seen the world until you visit this great nation near the equator called the Pearl of Africa. And that's in Uganda. Guys, we work so hard. You're the engine of your hard work. Heaven starts here on earth. Come, visit and explore Uganda. My fellow Ugandans, it should be a consolidated effort for us to market our great nation. It cannot be done by me alone. It cannot be done by the Ministry of Tourism alone. It cannot be done by Uganda Wildlife Authority alone, but it can be done by me and you. All of us together. Not even the sky can limit us. Come and enjoy the great pearl of Africa. Spare some time. Today is a Saturday, it's a weekend. What a way to relax. Even the breeze around here. Man, I want you to come and experience this by yourselves. I can tell you the stories, but you can tell your own story first hand. So, Ugandans, let's do this. The rest of the world, wherever you are, the time is now. Come visit Uganda. Uganda is free of Ebola. We don't have even a single case of Ebola. We don't have a single person in isolation over Ebola. It's the haters hyping it. But as a country, we are safe and sound as you see us here. We don't have a single case of Marburg. We are here, come and join us. On 26th, we are having the Rwenzori Marathon. Come and run for a good cause. Come and see western part of Uganda. Here we're in the central, but there is a lot more to see in the western part of the country. Come and join us. Let's enjoy, let's have fun. Work without play makes Tom a dull boy. So, come and enjoy some money. I've done it, you can do it. You work so hard, you can play hard.
Also known as Sentongo, as she said. A citizen of Uganda. I've been here since 1994, and I'm the founder and director of CTC Conservation Center. We're very happy to have hosted the minister today. Also, to clarify a few issues, we saw some funny newspaper articles saying that we shouldn't have interaction with animals, but we're very happy that this is appreciated and that it's an experience which really sticks with you, because seeing animals in cages is different from actually getting up and close with animals. those are memories which last, especially with children. It's something they remember for life. Touching a lion, which is friendly, that's something you keep for life. So we're very, very happy with the visit. We are currently still expanding. We're right now on a new piece of land we bought, which is 52 acres, which will be an elephant sanctuary in future. We've just been licensed for that. Other than that, we have a huge diversity of animals. We have giraffes, we have hyenas, we have lions, we have snakes. We have really a huge diversity. So anyone willing to come or wanting to get closer to animals, learn about animals, these are educational tours. All tours here are guided. So please, if you want to get up and close with animals and learn more about them, you're most welcome to come to CTC Conservation Center in Butambala.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. Welcome back from GMU Tourism Express. It's time for business. My name is Julie F. Nantaba. Now, did you know that human severe, with statistics showing that about 80% to 90% of cases are children, and at that domestic have been urged to fight against human trafficking through unity, social media and community awareness campaigns. This was revealed Coalition for Trafficking in Africa during the Youth Symposium on Human Trafficking at Makerere University under the theme Abias, the Secretary for Labour Affairs National Youth Council, appealed to the government agencies to support youth initiatives in the fight against human trafficking in the country. The Executive Director, Youth Against Trafficking in Parsons, Bright Ajuna, highlighted that ending human trafficking begins with being vigilant at every step of the way. Let's take a listen.
You're being received.
God has enough jobs. You don't have to go abroad. Look for jobs. God has created this country with a lot of endowment. Let's look at the opportunities, especially under the National Development Plan 4, which was passed by our government, and that's the policy we are operating in. Look at the opportunities in the manufacturing industry. Look at the opportunities in the agriculture industry. Look at the opportunities in oil and gas. Look at the opportunities in agro-processing. Look at the opportunities in construction. Let's get the skills. Let us begin be self-reliant by actually using what we have.
Most important was to inform them about this vice, because as long as they are assertive and they know about how these traffickers lure them, excite them about job opportunities, excite them about offers. Some of them are convinced that they are getting into better places. Our president of the country has been informing young people on his addresses that, look, Uganda has a lot of potential for them, but the young people are always lured to think that abroad there are so many opportunities. But the message of the president has been clear. We are informing young people that, look, you can be able to create a way, you can be able to start entrepreneurship here in the country and be able to earn a living.
Human trafficking targets all individuals and wherever they are. We must also appreciate that human trafficking is both internal and external. But our mindset has failed to acknowledge that these two things can coexist at the same time in a state. We as the young people of today, we have come to understand how best can we combat this? The current statistics show that Uganda has lost 270 members to different countries in the Middle East, in the Asias, and most specifically in the Cambodian countries, where our members have been trafficked in the formats of change of the contracts, change of the expiry of contract dates, and change of the jobs which they applied for where they are in Uganda. And we as the young people, we have come with a deliberate action that we request our commissions, we request our embassies in those countries that this is a battle worth fighting.
This is indeed a battle that is not just for one person, it's for all of us. 75% of Uganda's population is young people, and human trafficking statistics show that 80 to 90% of those involved in human trafficking as victims are children, young people, and women. And the saddest part is it being domestic. That percentage largely covers it being domestic human trafficking. So let's fight together, because Uganda is the young Uganda that it is right now. All right, now away from that, Uganda is one of the world's largest refugee hosts, hosting about 2 million refugees in the country, making it the largest in Africa and amongst the top 5 in the world. 28th July marked the 75th anniversary of the 1951 Refugee Convention, the landmark treaty that defines who qualifies as a refugee, outlines their rights, and sets out states' obligations to protect them. World leaders and policy makers gathered in Geneva to reaffirm their commitment to the convention, strengthen solidarity pledges. Let's take a look.
The Convention was adopted at a UN conference on July 28, 1951. It involved 146 state parties and was created due to The treaty establishes the legal definition of the term refugee and outlines their basic rights. It also defines the legal obligations of states to protect refugees' rights and the assistance they are entitled to. Further, the treaty establishes non-refoulement as a core principle. This means refugees shouldn't be returned to the countries where they face threats to their life and freedom. But 75 years on, questions abound as to whether it is still relevant in a fast-changing world. Currently, the UN estimates that there are over 117 million displaced people worldwide. Of those, about 68.7 million are displaced within their own countries. Aid organizations point out that internally displaced people cannot enjoy all of the Convention's protections because it legally requires a person to cross an international border to be termed a refugee. However, even as gaps remain, they also argue that for millions forced out of their homes and countries, the Convention provides some protection in a time of great vulnerability. Wilkis Anyabwa, CGTN.
All right, that brings us to the end of what we have in business this morning. But Good Morning Uganda does continue because we have the agenda. Yesterday was the elections for LC1 at the village level in 71,214 villages across the country. Many, of course, know who their LC1 is chair for the next 5 years. There are some that don't know as yet because of the chaos that erupted here and there. Of course, police reports that largely elections were peaceful, but of course there were areas that had chaos erupt, like volcanic eruptions, and ended up without LC1 chairpersons at that. A few areas in Machindi, Saba, Gabo, there, Busabala areas, there are villages that, as we speak right now, do not have an LC1 chairperson. We are having a conversation in just a bit, and that will be on the agenda. So stay tuned. Good morning.
UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah yo,
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Juko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better.
PDM, my parish, my development, my...
The question is, what is the difference between rental tax and income tax? How comes I'm paying both taxes on my own premises? If you want to have a tin, but you are not making any income from your business, you should take on the obligation to continue filing your nil return.
Commissioner General, to invest in taxation. When people understand taxes and they know the importance of taxes and they know the fair assessment of these taxes they're supposed to pay, I think everybody will embrace taxation.
As banning groupage cargo clearance protects small traders who cannot afford to import full container loads individually and rely on consolidation to remain competitive. Cargo to come in groupage is consolidation, it's legitimate, and we can't ban it. What we have banned, or what we have stopped, is the use of container leaders. Now, Fiona, the good news I have for you is that among the new tax proposals,
now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887 and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Buza Commissioner.
Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala.
We have to change the political culture in this country, really. who has bewitched Ugandans.
I want to assure you, as government, we shall do whatever it takes to ensure that Ugandans are safe.
We have conversations that have analysis, explanation.
This law society, this union of theirs, because they want a job everywhere, they want to be this, they want to be that, they want... No. We know it's a union.
You cannot be making a road, bitumen grade 1, in Congo for 5 billion.
But not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth.
The argument that the General Court Martial is responsible for peace and stability is without basis, either in law or in fact.
We have been told how Napoleon was a great orator. Now, Napoleon cannot help me get food. They told me combine harvest in Saskatchewan. I don't know where Saskatchewan is. This is a geographer we taught. Instead of teaching me how to preserve Mabera forest, they're teaching me about Rhineland. This is a problem we got. We cannot run away from it.
Right now, you hear very disgusting stories of members of parliament. Instead of discussing the details of loans, they ask for their cuts.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Hi, I'm called Baka, and welcome to Kiswahili Kimoja. Let's look at some more vegetables. Tuangalie mboga zaidi. Pilipili, pilipili, hot pepper. Baba anaongeza pilipili kwenye mchuzi. Father is adding hot pepper to the soup. Giligilani, giligilani, coriander. Mpishi anakata giligilani. The cook is chopping coriander. Kitunguu saumu, kitunguu saumu, garlic. Dada anakata vitunguu saumu. Dada anakata vitunguu saumu. Sister is cutting garlic. Uyoga, uyoga, mushroom. Mama anapika uyoga. Mama anapika uyoga. Mother is cooking mushrooms. Good job, kazi nzuri. See you next time. Tutaonana tena. Hi, and welcome to Kiswahili Kimoja. Let's learn some gardening tools. Tujifunze vifaa vya bustani. Kipuli, kipuli. Slasher. Mjomba anafyeka nyasi kwa kipuli. Mjomba anafyeka nyasi kwa kipuli. Uncle is slashing grass with a slasher. Mpira ya maji. Mpira ya Shangazi anamwagilia mimea kwa mpira wa maji. Shangazi anamwagilia mimea kwa mpira wa maji. Aunt is watering the plants with a hosepipe. kamba, rope. Babu amefunga ng'ombe kwa kamba. Babu amefunga ng'ombe kwa kamba. Grandpa has tied the cow with the rope. Shoka, shoka, axe. Mkulima anapasua kuni kwa shoka. Mkulima anapasua kuni kwa shoka. The farmer is splitting firewood with an axe. Good job. Kazi nzuri. Remember, the more you practice, the easier it gets. See you next time. Tutaonana tena. Hi, and welcome to Kiswahili Kimoja. Let's learn some insects on the farm. Tujifunze wadudu wa bustani. Nyuki, nyuki. Bee. Nyuki anaruka juu ya maua. Nyuki anaruka juu ya maua. The bee is flying over the flowers. Kipepeo, kipepeo. Butterfly. Vipepeo wanaruka kwenye bustani. Vipepeo. The butterflies are flying in the garden. Funza, funza. Caterpillar. Funza anakula majani. Funza anakula majani. The caterpillar is eating leaves. Mchwa, mchwa. Termite. Mchwa wanakula mbao. Mchwa wanakula mbao. The termites are eating wood. Good job. Kazi nzuri. Remember, the more you practice, the easier it gets. See you next time. Tutaonana tena.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliance.